continuing, but so far, Nadia, the live.
We're good.
So we're back. Live updates. Trump has 267 of the 273 votes left to announce him as the winner. But I mean, it's already clear that the highest probability, very high probability, that he is the new president of the USA. The markets are pricing that in, they're reacting to that. And what we will do with this last 30 minutes of reaction, coverage, is to check the markets, main assets, main charts, and see how the markets are pricing Donald Trump being the US president.
Yeah, I think we should start with the Euro USD.
Definitely. So just so you can check the chart right now where we are at, whoever reached 2,700 first, the United States. So we will move towards the charts. There's support for indices, support for the US dollar. It seems that all US assets are being supported. For the first time, I'm seeing this rebound also on treasury yields. For 10 years, they are even above 4.2 that we've seen a couple of days ago. It's now 4.4. It's really high. It's supporting the US dollar in a crazy way. If we want to see, for example, Euro USD, it's giving me today's candle is just crazy. We've seen, and we used to discuss that before, on the USD, on the Euro USD, we had this rebound of the euro after having this downtrend. We break above it. The euro was gaining momentum, and this momentum gave us two like we retested a very strong resistance around 1.121 twice, and then it bounced back down. Usually this formation would forecast at least a continuous downtrend, especially if we broke the neckline, which was around 100.097, which it did. It gave us also, it reached both levels that we were expecting around 1.088, and then continued its downtrend and gave us the second target, which was today we actually reached this level, which was around 1.068. So after this huge downtrend we've seen last couple of weeks with this close polls between Harris and Trump, that probably the dollar was a little bit losing its strength. We've seen a rebound on the euro, but then with the news coming today on a daily chart, the candle of today, it gave us back the first target and the second target of the downtrend.
Yeah.
And then we rebounded back from the 1.068, which was somehow our second target.
And we can even go lower. As the dollar will gain more strength, we can see that the euro will be under pressure, especially that the situation in the eurozone is still proving to be quite difficult to overcome or recovery after the technical recession that we've seen. So we have poor economic indicators, most importantly a stronger dollar, and so this gives us all more reason to speculate that the euro might see deep lows, especially after touching the 106 handle. This means that if we actually continue with this momentum, that we can go even lower than that. And don't forget that the euro fell below parity not so long ago, and that the situation now will be quite difficult for the euro to remain relatively stronger.
So are we going to see parity again?
I think parity is a bit, I think let's first break the 104 handle, and then we can discuss the parity, because we're not sure how far the dollar can strengthen, because we have rate cuts, right? And every time we do have rate cuts, the dollar usually goes down. So if we carry, so it will highly depend on the dollar, and I think the situation in the Eurozone, I don't think it will continue like that for another year with rate cuts from the ECB as well. So parity is a bit, let's say, far away to discuss. But yeah, let's talk about what happened when Trump and Clinton they were opposing each other in the 2016 election. I just want to say a little bit of a story before going back to the technical analysis. So in the 2016 election, we had significant uncertainty with polls indicating a very tight race also between Trump and Clinton. And I think the elections were marked by economic issues and social tensions. The campaign focus for Hillary Clinton promoted a continuation of the Obama policies, while Donald Trump focused on tax cuts and deregulation and a populist agenda. And I think this time around, he's also going to be focused on the same thing. So let's see how the markets reacted to that back in 2016. Trump's victory definitely surprised the markets. They triggered an immediate sell-off on futures trading. However, the S&P quickly rebounded as investors began to price in potential tax cuts and infrastructure spending. And I think this time around, the fact that we're not seeing a sell-off and we're seeing so much optimism in the markets is because we go back to the same point in 2016, and we know that tax cuts and deregulation will really promote gains for the tech sector especially. So the post-election trend, we saw that the S&P 500 gained approximately 10% by the end of 2016. Do you think that this can also happen?
10%.
10%.
In 1 year? Yes.
Yes.
The first initial reaction, and we are actually seeing that, and that's what some major banks were expecting to see a spike of 3% in case of Donald Trump win.
Just
we
till
saw
end
that.
of year, and then next year is another thing. The 10% will
till the end of year. I mean, because S&P 500, I'm betting on the very huge possibility to test the levels of 6,000. I'm not really sure how percentage-wise of that. Is it like 7-8%
yes,
from what we are right now?
Almost,
so
yes.
It's a high possibility, but we need to also see how prices will react towards 6,000 on S&P. Now also back to the Euro USD, in case we are seeing this support, continuous support for USD. Remember, tomorrow we have Federal Bank meeting. It's a very important meeting to give us also extra hints on what would happen, especially now since we are live. So in case you have any question, you're checking any asset, you can ask us live. We'll make sure to answer that. But the levels that we need to focus on in case we drop below 1.068.
Are they sharing screen?
Guys, if we can share the screen for what we are discussing right now on the Euro USD. In case we drop below that, then the next target would be 1.061. These are levels that we didn't see since April 2024. These were the support, the lowest level that we've seen since then. And so in case we break below that, then we might be testing 1.04, the levels that Nadia was mentioning earlier. Now, not only Euro USD, I'm seeing huge momentum on too many pairs. USD JPY, as I was checking before, it's back above 154. We need to remember that despite this huge drop that we've seen till August or during August, I don't think the carry trade is going anywhere. The US remains strong, and this policy to help the Japanese markets remains the main focus of the Central Bank of Japan. So very easy way to get loans in Japan on the Japanese yen, and then reinvest it somewhere that might give me better yields. Seems like it's going to be there for a while, which would support the US dollar, given Trump winning the elections right now, and in case also we hear a bit of a hawkish stance from Jerome Powell. So all of that would support the USD and would add pressure on the Japanese yen in case we didn't see any reaction from Bank of Japan. I highly doubt. I think they're just betting that prices remain around 155, maybe 158. Nothing beyond that. and the US moving towards lowering interest rate, then they might not need to do anything, and that would be enough for them. Not the best case scenario, just not the worst case scenario for them. Another interesting chart that I want to show you is the USD franc. And I think, honestly, it's time for the USD to shine in the face of the Swiss franc. It's been under pressure for a while. The Swiss franc was really supported, and it didn't really affect their economy. Like, production was good. The production in Switzerland could be even, if we can check the chart, please, we can compare it compared to the Eurozone and Germany, since it's the biggest industrial economy in the Eurozone. It was actually doing pretty well, despite a stronger franc, and still the industry sector was doing well compared to Europe and Germany. But then we're starting to see weaker signs. I think they need to move to lowering this support that they have on the Swiss franc. And given all this good news coming from the US, I think USD franc is going to remain on a bullish stance. We are now testing resistance. It was the levels that we were expecting to test in case of a bullish momentum, around 0.874. If it continues even higher, then I don't think there's anything stopping it from retesting 0.887. That might be the second target for the bulls on the USD franc. I don't think there's anything that might stop that unless we see some profit taking on the USD. In case that's the scenario, then we might go back to retesting the support around 0.867. So that's that for the Euro USD, for the USD franc, and for the USD JPY. But if you guys also are checking any other pairs, please do let us know. We can also check it together and give you our opinion. So there's that. Gold is back, and that's something really important that we've been discussing in our first
live.
Yes, I'm going back to the 1 hour chart.
Able to retest the 2,730. I would just like to see us break the 2,740 before anticipating anything, but the outlook does seem a little bit dim for gold prices despite us retesting key levels. I think the outlook overall is a bit
maybe if
dim.
they can check the chart as well on the gold 15 minutes chart. I think now it's visible. Okay. Now we can see the charts. Okay.
I would like to know from the audience if they're more bullish or bearish for gold. If you guys can just keep up your comments, it would be great to know what you guys think about gold prices retesting and recovering after the slip that we saw earlier today to 2,700, which we weren't able to break, but we could if things turn sideways. And if I think it will take a while for traders to absorb that Trump is set to win today. What are the key resistance levels that we're looking at?
If we can share the chart, please. And now we are testing resistance. Also, these are charts that we've been discussing months ago and weeks ago, and the levels that we are checking today or on the chart right now are the levels that we were discussing 2 hours before, the night before. So please keep them as a reference. These are really key levels, and we are seeing that the markets are respecting the technical levels in a very clear way. Not even like, for example, this correction that we had on the gold, trying to retest the area of 270. Our technical level was actually not 270 exactly, it was 271.5, and these were the levels that the market actually respected quite clearly. And then we saw the rebound. We saw how the markets were trying to retest the resistance of 2,715. We had a bit of a resistance right there, but then when we saw a bullish momentum continuing above this level, then it was also given that we might move towards testing the next resistance around 2,729 to 32. There's like this range of resistance. We are retesting it right now. signs, technical signs would give us mixed signals right now. We can go both ways. Peaking above then 2,739 is very probable. The main resistance that we've been seeing throughout maybe the whole November till now was 2,745. This area, we've never broke above it, but we had some peaks, some false break above that. But these levels, we've never seen gold trading above it since the beginning of November till today. Beginning of November was actually the time that we've seen on too many betting platforms a trend of possible Trump win.
Yeah.
So we can clearly see this sideways movement between a possibility of Donald Trump winning the election and pressure on gold not to trade or break above 2,745. This area right here, you can see it. I will highlight it more. Is respected as the upper level of this move.
I think the biggest concern here is that since yesterday, markets are taking the Trump trades, which is buying the dollar, selling other major currencies, and also buying US major indices. So I think the only thing in the way of gold going down is the political uncertainty of Trump's tariff and tax cuts that he plans to do. But otherwise, because we've seen this before in 2016, then I think this is the only thing urging investors to stay a little bit cautious. And this is why markets, although initially reacted by gold tumbling down, there's a bit of caution right now just ahead of the announcement, because so far it seems like Trump is winning the 270 states. Everything is literally in the red, so state-wise, not gold or stocks-wise. So before we wrap this up, Farah, do you want to add anything?
Just for gold lovers, because I know too many are just focusing on gold. They're trading it on short-term. Technically, I think these levels might very possible to retest them today. 2,730, 2,715, 2,701. These are levels that we might see in case prices drop. These are support levels to take into consideration in your short-term trade. If we can check the chart as well, I've highlighted the levels that we didn't break since the beginning of November, since higher probability of Donald Trump winning, which is 2,745. I believe we need to really trade above these levels, remain above these levels, maybe close a trading day above these levels. So we might consider a more bullish momentum to continue this uptrend. Given that we have higher yields on bonds, now we are talking about 4.4 on 10 years treasury yields. We are seeing this jump back to the market. Tech stock, growth stock are gaining momentum. So yes, gold, despite all of that, trading above 2,700 is a bullish sign. But then on a short-term trade, let's keep that in mind. US dollar might continue its momentum. Indices might continue the momentum. Now the focus, and I was doubting to have that. I was doubting to have results, clear results by today.
Yeah.
But since we're almost there, 99% there, then the focus is now shifting towards the Federal Reserve decision. 25 basis point is the major scenario so far. Now, I don't really care about what the federal bank will do with interest rate because there's still $3 trillion liquidity in the market, and that's where I care what the federal bank will do. Are we going to have some quantitative easing? Are we going to lower this cash in the market or not? Because whatever happens in the interest rate, it's being also rebalanced with the liquidity that we still have in the markets. What would be interesting is to focus on that, focus on what they would be saying, especially Jerome Powell, when it comes to the job market, to the latest numbers that we've seen. And it was surprising, the numbers that we've seen for the previous month. Of course, it might be just an anomaly, not a clear trend or a new trend. Let's focus on that, focus on the quantitative easing. Where are we right now? Another very interesting, just give me 1 second to share a very clear chart that I missed to maybe show you earlier. We can check it now. That's liquidity, how much we print and we inject in the market. And does it really matter who's in office when it comes to how much the US is printing and injecting to the market? Who do you think is pro-printing, let's say? Democrats or Republican?
I'm not sure, actually.
Both. So we can check when it was Clinton, then he injected 1 trillion. Bush came, injected 4 trillion. Obama came, 9 trillion.
Yeah.
Then Trump with 7 trillion, Biden 5 trillion. It was never a quantitative easing with any president. We didn't see a reverse trend. We didn't see any like kind of trying to reduce the balance sheet. There's no trend in that. So whoever is in office supposedly will be continuing this trend. Very strong maybe problems that will face any president is the US debt and how much we will continue printing. But for the meantime, the markets are really liking it, liking Trump to being back in office. They know that he likes his legacy. He likes to keep a good memory of himself, and a good memory to him means having S&P on new all-time high. That's as easy as it sounds. That's what he used to say before.
Futures currently are actually at, they reached new all-time highs, the S&P futures,
Yes.
right now.
So we're expecting the markets in the US to open with probably a bullish sentiment, especially on growth stocks, but we might see it also all over the stock market and the bond market, which is weird. So we might see a bit of a rebound on gold. We might see sideways movement. But I mean, trading above 2,700 is still a bullish momentum. Bitcoin is really interesting. Keep a look on it.
Since we've touched 2,700 earlier today, it means we could retest this level again after the US session opens, and we could go down from there. So I think we really need to pay attention to the Trump trades as they happen and as the dollar goes back up.
So last thing I'm going to finish with is Bitcoin lovers. So we broke above, if we can check the chart from a technical perspective, we broke above the area of, I would say, all-time high. It created an area of resistance, and now it's actually the support level of Bitcoin. On an hour chart, I don't see an overbought situation, especially for something that can go even above 80, like cryptocurrencies. So I want to also double check on shorter time frames. From a technical perspective, it seems that the 73K is the support for now, trading above it, especially in case we saw RSI going a bit lower to create this momentum for a new bullish trend. Seems like a possible scenario. Keep an eye on Bitcoin. Whoever is looking to jump in and buy Bitcoin because of Trump win, 73 is somehow the support level.
There's still more room to go higher.
Yes, there's still room to go higher, but in case we broke above this all-time high, turn to support, then you can also double check the 70K. It's a psychological support. We might see also some price reaction around that. We might see it breaking below just for the sake of having a sideways momentum consolidation area and then going higher. Remember yesterday for the ETF related to Bitcoin, we saw huge outflows, but then BlackRock, major hedge funds, they are still buying Bitcoin. It's here to stay, it seems that way. With Donald Trump in office, we are expecting Bitcoin to continue this uptrend, whether by the end of this year and the start of 2025 might be interesting for Bitcoin. We'll finish on that.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll be back soon.